coming through?
What's up?
How am I coming through? Because I've got a mic attached and it's not showing now. I mean, did my voice change at all, or is it the same?
It's the same. I mean, it sounds pretty good.
All right, if it sounds good, then I won't use it. There was I have a Yeti here, but then for some reason this thing ain't picking it up. Uh,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, you went all out for the podcast?
No. I've had this for a while. It's just that
Uh,
it usually doesn't work, and then the other day it was working. I'm like, all right, hey, let's use it, and now it's not working. Hold on, let me
of
put
course. Yeah. How it is. I don't know. Everything's down today, apparently.
you noticed that too, huh?
It's Amazon. It's the whole Amazon server went down.
Oh, is that what happened? Because I noticed Marcus
Yeah.
was down, and my first thought was the Russians are at it again.
Yep.
Remember
Isn't
the
there run?
thing that happened a few years ago?
What happened?
There was a huge, like, this was like 2017, 2018, a
Mm-hmm.
DNS, attack on a bunch of big websites. And
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
they said that I'm going to turn off my email, otherwise it's going to keep going. Uh, I don't want that, right? Because it's
Yeah. People calling your phone.
going
In the
on.
line.
But yeah, that was something that happened, and then I don't know. I hadn't heard much about it since then, but every time I hear something now, that's my first thought. It's like, oh,
Yeah. What is it called? They're attacking the that one pipeline that's under the ocean.
oh
That
yeah.
yeah.
You just go there with a giant chains. Although I understand there's several. I think there's like one major one. There's several backed up that way.
Yeah, just massive. They got something. I know they do.
Yeah, I mean,
But
it's probably one of those things that if you know where it's at, you're probably now a person of interest, right?
yeah, yeah.
You know where it's
Probably.
at. Where were you last week, right? So
I was in the middle of the ocean, 2,000 feet deep.
with giant sauce.
Wonder what you were up to. But no, I feel like it'd be the Chinese nowadays. Russians
Uh,
are too busy.
I think it's still the Russians, the Chinese, and the Iranians. I mean, the three. Like the
Really? Up to no good?
well, the Russians have the Internet Research Agency. We've seen time and time again, like they definitely do this stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
Notice how I love that, because here's the thing, the story of Twitter and Elon Musk's, it's this sort of a loose relationship with the truth. You know,
Yeah.
he gave them a final offer, none of this. And then Dorsey said no. Then he gave him a second final offer, which he upped it. And they said yes. Then he tried to back away. Remember that? Oh, there's so many bots. You guys lied to me.
Yep.
They sued.
Yep.
They lawyered up. And before losing, Elon Musk steps down and says, okay, I'll take it. And he shows up, all the stupid videos, him with a sink. And like,
Such a mess.
the 2010s call, they want the joke back. And right. And then of course now it's all bots. Now it's all bots. And
Yep. It's even
now,
worse, I think.
oh, of course.
It's like the worst platform on the internet. It's so terrible.
Unless you're a Trump loving, left hating, right?
Yeah.
Hound, then it's got this much more panache than Truth Social.
Yep.
And it's
That if it's that.
yeah,
If
oh, right,
that.
right, right, right. But I mean, it's God, and then the other ones didn't really take off. Like signed up for Blue Sky. I don't remember the last time,
What
but
is that?
exactly. Blue Sky was another one that was gonna like, are you tired of Twitter? Blue Sky, and a bunch of people putting up Blue Sky stuff.
Uh-huh.
There was another one. Once they started with a T, I signed up for both of them. It's like I never liked it, and
I'm not gonna lie. That is so California. That is so California.
well, I mean, I'd say it's anybody in the tech sphere, right? Like anything that can
Uh-huh.
start rushing in there, right? Uh,
Yeah.
so it's all said and done. But I mean, look at all the AI bots that are coming up now. The APIs, right? Uh,
Oh, dude. You know how to use the APIs and all that?
well, I mean, every day on Instagram there's another video of like this new video generator is better than this and the other. And I
Yep.
agree. I'm like, I swear, just 2 days ago there was another one, right?
No.
So
You remember that video of like it was always a test of how good the video generators are. It was like Will Smith eating spaghetti.
oh,
And
know that.
yeah, it was kind of like you ever heard of the
Oh,
Turing test?
that's the quick brown fox of a lazy dog's version of video.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And every year to test how good it is, they did the Will Smith video, and now you can't even tell. It's
Hmm,
have you heard of Sora?
which one?
Sora, Sora.
Yes, I've seen videos on Sora.
Yeah, Sora is crazy.
Really?
Yeah, I saw a video the other day. It was a guy like bench pressing, right? He like normal bench press, probably 225 on the bar, and he comes down and the bar snaps in half on his chest. And I was
Oh,
like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. And then I see the Sora logo in the top right. I'm like,
wow. So it's that convincing. Interesting.
I'm
Hollywood,
gonna get scammed.
well, Hollywood's going to have a hell of a time. I mean, it's
Oh,
been,
I know.
well, out here, I've been hearing now for a year and a half of how bad it's getting, right?
Really?
Well, first off, the strikes didn't help, right? And then the strikes got, because right about every 10 years, like, yeah, it's like three major writer strikes in 10 years. And I get what they're arguing about, right? I mean,
Uh-huh.
once they come over the intellectual property, everybody picks at it. And next thing you know, they don't have any part of it, right? The stars are getting part of it, and meanwhile, the writers are struggling. Uh,
Yeah,
but for them, they wouldn't even be there. But
exactly.
now with this, I mean, pretty soon you're going to have people that are, because in the 70s, there was the auteur theory of cinema, which I grew up with.
Uh-huh.
And what it was, this idea that the director had this vision of a movie. And so they were the author. And so, Ingmar Bergman, and then even Martin Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola,
Yeah.
they were really about that. Well, then as movies got bigger budgets, more and more people had their fingers in the pie.
Yeah, yeah.
And a producer is always going to say, hey, we have to worry about what are people going to see. It doesn't matter if it's the best picture in the world, if we don't make the box office, it's going to be a deal.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what made it worse and worse and worse and more formulaic. So now actually you can have somebody be an auteur and say, I came to this whole movie by myself. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, I mean that
It is it's feels more like art when they do it like that though. If it's so much more personal. Like all the Marvel, I think Marvel's what ruined it honestly. Because like the Marvel movies from 2008 to like 2018 they were great, but now they keep trying to do that with everything. Like you have the new Marvel movies, terrible.
I,
You have
I stopped after Endgame.
yeah, exactly. Endgame was the last good one they made. Actually, no, the Spider-Man movie they made after that was all right.
Yeah,
But
so the Spider-Man movies, he has something. He still does good films. So I do watch
yeah,
Spider.
yeah.
I don't remember the last Marvel one. I haven't seen any of the Thor ones. I mean,
No, they're
if I
terrible.
were into Chris Hemsworth's show, I'd be watching it. But
Yeah.
I grew up loving Natalie Portman, but that was 35 years ago, man. She ain't even,
Oh yeah, no. Star Wars, Natalie Portman.
she's still gorgeous and smart and all
Oh,
that
I
stuff.
know.
There's like new ones coming up every year. And now the AI ones are generated. I mean,
I'll
uh,
never watch one. I will never watch an AI movie ever.
you say
The
that, you say that.
Okay, well maybe one, maybe one.
Well, because I'm thinking, like, let's look at Star. Okay, so I agree with you that you'd have more artistic influence, but also some of the best ideas happen through serendipity. So a famous movie, way before my time, is
Oh
on the.
yeah.
You ever hear about it?
What was it called?
On the waterfront.
On the waterfront?
I know, right? There's a classic in its time. One best picture is the Marlon Brando, the famous line, "I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody."
Uh-huh.
So this is what's interesting. In the whatchamacallit, in the scene, that scene that I just mentioned, he's talking to his brother because he used to be a boxer. He got, I think, kind of punch drunk, and now he works for the mob. And then he opened up his mouth, and now they want to go after him, right? And
Yeah.
he's talking to his brother, and in the back of the car, you see these blinds, right? So you can't see behind it except for lighting.
Yeah.
I read this really interesting essay that a film theorist had put as to the significance of the blind versus curtains versus why they didn't just put a screen in the back to show cars, which is what most did. And it was a
Yeah.
very well written, very thought provoking, very interesting, but fully bullshit article. Because how that happened was they waited all afternoon for the rear projector. They were going to go that way. And Mark
Uh-huh.
finally turns to the director and say, why don't we just put some blinds or something? So exactly. And that's how.
Yeah.
And then you got this guy like, oh, it's a great idea. And he writes it, makes sense, gets published. He's now got tenure, or she got tenure. And meanwhile, it's all it is. It's
It was
all,
just it
yeah.
was a
So,
good idea.
sure. I mean, I got him tenure, right? I mean, that's all.
Yeah.
That's peak for a scholar. You get tenure and then,
Yeah, yeah. Life is complete.
yeah, well, at least
But
on that track, at least you can pay.
yeah.
Although it's funny, there's stipulations to that. So my classics professor, she had tenure, but after 2008 debacle, they actually shut down the humanities program and made a certificate.
Oh,
She was literally looking at going to Starbucks just to get healthcare benefits. Here's a woman who had a bachelor's from Princeton, had a year at Oxford, and a master's and PhD from Harvard. But within classics, it studies that. So while
uh-huh.
we were sitting in her classes and having a minute of it, most of it is going into what, tech or tech, right? So, oh yeah, it's kind of sad. It's really sad.
It's really sad, dude. There's no money in the arts or in the thoughts.
I mean, unless you're in the 1%, right?
DiCaprio, Brad Pitt,
Oh,
Tarantino.
yeah, all those guys. And who knows? It's when I used to go to the movies religiously, and then after lockdown, because I was watching on TV because that's what happened. And now since then, my favorite theater closed down. They reopened Cinema West instead. It's pretty good, but it's still a bit of a drive for me. And there's an AMC that's closer, but man, I can't really pay $20 for AMC.
Yeah, oh, ghetto.
Yeah, AMC has not improved in 30 years. I know I went there when I was your age.
Wow, so long ago.
That's,
Nah, I'm playing. What was that, like
it's not
19 years ago?
college. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. And really, that's great because I grew up in Orlando and we had an AMC in Disney. You ever been to Disney Springs?
Uh,
In a
is that their little like their
It's like the open one where you don't need a ticket and they have all the shops and the restaurants and all that.
I probably came. They used to be. This is how long ago it was. The last time I was in Orlando for
Mm,
Disney,
Downtown Disney.
downtown Disney. Yeah, when they had
That's
the
what it is.
downtown. Okay, I want to say I've been there. But you guys, there was something that closed now. They had like 8 clubs, or 10 clubs, like a comedy club, a dance club,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
paradise, something paradise, something.
Ah, I forget. I know you're talking about. I think that closed down like before I became a real person.
Ah,
So, or like right around when I became a real person. So I'm not
so
too
good.
sure.
Yeah, about that. I took a buddy of mine for his birthday in the 90s. And it was funny because you'd be in this club that looked like, I mean, we lived in Miami, so we were used to clubs.
Oh yeah.
This one was really nice. And then what was good is that there was a comedy club there, then disco. So yeah, and every night was New Year's, so they have Happy New Year, they have the countdown. But what was funny is back then, I was never there by midnight. I was there after midnight.
Of
Now,
course.
now, man, I'm in bed by
In bed by 9?
or 10. 10 if I'm feeling,
Oh wow.
I get up at 5. I get up at 5. Sometimes
Oh,
I
okay,
go to
well.
the gym, I get my workout. You gotta remember, I mean, going to Miami, right? We show up to the clubs past midnight. The last
Uh-huh.
was about 4, right? Quarter till. Then
Yeah,
from 4 to 5, we'd all go to Denny's because they didn't have during.
of course.
And then at 5 o'clock you'd have the after hours clubs. Yeah, so I mean I've done it where like I've come out and it's dawn, right? And good when you're hungover. And
Yeah.
it's like with the last time it happened was about 15 years ago. I was visiting and it was Halloween. And I told my friend I did not want to be leaving at dawn. We were up in the pub. And next thing you know,
Uh-huh.
cursing all the way while I see the sun come up 3 miles to home. I'm like, son of a. And never again, never again. I mean, I was up till 2 on Saturday because a friend came in from out of town. And it's just, I can still party like a rock star. I just can't recover like one. And
Oh
that's
yeah.
the
Yeah, the
goal.
metabolism's gone.
Recovery is tough. It's really tough. Hair to
I
dog,
will. Yep.
it just bites you even more. Oh yeah. And then I see now, like, I mean, it can ruin your week. It can ruin your
Oh,
week.
I bet. A week?
Yeah, because a day or two into you feel normal, and then you're okay, but you're not 100%, not go, go, go. And really,
Uh-huh.
Thursday or Friday, it's not until you feel like as good as you did the previous Thursday, right? With drink, I keep it to 2, right? I mean, that
Uh-huh.
even if I want a third one, I'll maybe wait another hour to a whole lot more. Yeah,
Yep, drink a whole gallon.
yeah, exactly. That way, and hope I don't get hyperhidrolysis or something. And yeah, where you have too much water, your salty
Yeah,
mood.
yeah. The
Uh,
nice ruined.
yeah, yeah. It's funny. Some recovering alcoholics do that because
Really?
it gives them a buzz, and so they will drink the water to that point. It makes them not buzz, but it gets them lightheaded. So it mimics inebriation. And yeah, there's
Wow.
an interesting book by Dr. Anna Lemke, Dopamine Nation, where she talks about this. And so I saw her in Diary of a CEO, and she mentioned that, yeah, one of the most interesting addictions is the water. And unfortunately, that woman ended up dying. But
Oh man.
I
Of
mean,
what?
well, she couldn't die.
Hyperhidrosis?
No, but I remember a friend of mine that had a drinking problem. He had gone into the hospital for the same deal. And she never told me why. I'm like, how did that happen? Well, and he hit me like, oh, okay, no. Like now
Hmm.
I'm post sober. So if I bring it up now, it's like, "Yeah, 30 years ago, we was something like
Yeah.
she's an interesting woman. 9/11 survivor. So
Really?
really
In the
interesting.
towers?
In the tower. She was in the second tower when the first tower got hit. And
What?
she worked for Aon. And the moment she gets out of the elevator, because she didn't hear anything, the moment she gets out, there's a panic, and she, of course, from floor to ceiling windows, and she sees like debris and fire come from the first tower, and she sees two friends that were just recently married that she worked with, and she asked, "Where are you running to?" And they mouthed stairs. So she made the last minute decision to go into the elevator, went all the way down. By the time she came out, the second plane hit. So remember, she had just gotten, there was a gym in the first building. She gets in there, all is happening. She doesn't know what's going on. She's thinking, has the war started? That's what she's thinking.
It's
And
a
she's,
right thought.
oh yeah, and she starts shutting down. And luckily, some guy grabbed her and said, "You come with me." And instead of running, they ran across the Brooklyn Bridge. She goes, when they got halfway across the Brooklyn Bridge, is when the first tower started falling. And interestingly enough, her friends did not survive because people got this. The people that took the stairs, when they got to about the 70th floor, security came on and said, "It's only the first tower, go back."
What?
Yeah, they even had an alarm.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
the tower, we expect everything. They didn't know that when it was in the tower. Second was about to hit. And by the time the second one hit, if you were in that second tower and above, all bets were off. Right? At that point in time, that's how they lost.
You're done.
But she survived, and she had to survive with guilt, and she was a DJ and a musician, and now she's been a psychotherapist. Got her psyche. And
Wow.
she did 20 years now. Yeah.
What a journey, dude. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have any extreme thoughts about 9/11?
Oh, you mean the whole conspiracy stuff?
No, yeah, I love diving into that.
Conspiracy theories are always fun, and
They're
I
fun.
people like them because the idea of control is very, very reassuring. It sucks
Yeah.
if this is all just random. But what I've seen, I have a friend that worked in the intelligence community, and he was actually field agent. So you would think,
Uh-huh. He was there.
no,
He
he
was
was,
out there. No,
but
no, I mean like out there.
out there, yeah, he was out there. In fact, he taught it, and now he's retired. But um, he always reminds me, it's like, look, these are still like if you ever talk to any project manager, what if the government or not, to coordinate so many different things on a timely manner is so difficult. And so that's
Yeah.
the more people don't get that the more parties involved, the greater the possibility of something going wrong, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing works with probability. I just heard this guy talking about how one of the problems with the dating types we have is people have, they need to have this, they need to have this, they need to have this. And what they don't know is that every single quality is an independent variable. And the problem with independent variables in statistics and probability is that each independent variable is multiplied for you to get the final result. So for example, to get heads on the next roll, 0.5, right? 50% chance, right? On the next
Yeah.
to get heads two times in a row is 0.5 times 0.5, 0.25. There's a one in
Uh-huh.
four chance of getting it, right? Now think three times. So now put four or five different things that your mate has to have, and now your universe gotten this big, right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that, which I didn't learn until I was in my 30s, and most people don't learn until 30s, is that when you're young, you know what you want. You don't know what you need yet. And sometimes what you want is not what you need. And
Yeah.
sometimes what you think you want is not. I mean, there's a certain bravo you can say to people that said, from a very young age, I want to be X, and they became X, and they did the people like most of us when they say I want to be X have no idea what that entails, right? We have
Yeah.
no. But when my little sisters were growing up, they asked me what should I do. I said, whatever you choose, don't go on how it sounds. Go to someone who does it and ask them, what do you do every day? Because that's the job. That's what you're doing. And if you love the idea of being a doctor, but hate the idea of earwax, bad breath, you're gonna hate life, right?
And for you.
Exactly, right? It's great when someone says, oh, doctor so and so, oh, yes, thank you very much. But now I got to go back and make my money. And that's why so many depressed doctors. That I read once that it's the number one occupation where most people do not want their children to go into.
Really?
My father didn't want, he was a surgeon, he didn't want me to do
What?
that.
That's
Yeah.
that's so weird because like for like me, every doctor I've met, they seem happy, but like every nurse I meet seems horrible, miserable.
Now you know who does the real work.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the
My
doctors
sister
come
was
in like, "Hey, ladies," and they're just like, "Shut up."
now you know who does the real work. And most doctors, I mean, there's a high rate of alcoholism. In fact, the rates for alcoholism and suicide for doctors are almost as high as, believe it or not, police officers.
Really?
That is one of the most thankless, high stress jobs. You do your job right, nobody says anything. Like
Nope.
metal, you do one thing and someone happens to have a camera,
Defund.
it's all bad. It's
Yeah,
all bad. And then like I get it. There are bad cops out there, just like there are bad advisors,
obviously.
lawyers, and bad attorneys, and bad doctors. But most people, they pull someone over. They don't know if it's the wrong guy. They have no idea.
Yeah.
Um, right? And so they're already running high. And so how to come down off that, right? And so yeah, a lot of them end up just and plus it's easy to get cynical when all you see are the dregs of humanity day in, day out, right? Because that's what they're dealing with. They're
Yeah.
then all they see is what they're protecting us from. And so they think, I mean, I've seen it, even cops that smile, they have to be in guard. So I remember when I was at Wells Fargo, something's happening, and the teller and I came out to see it. I wasn't a teller, I was working in investment services, but we had our name tag. But even
Yeah.
if on everything, his hand was right on his pistol. It's just like, it was his palm resting on the butt of the gun, right? Just in case
Uh-huh.
off. But
Ready.
you wouldn't know, but I noticed where his hand was, and I thought it makes sense because even though we look fine, we don't. He doesn't know.
You
Right.
never know.
And I mean, and it's funny, he was so friendly. My friend, the teller, didn't even notice that. I said, "Do you notice for his sandwich?" She goes, "No, actually, I just noticed that he had a really nice smile."
Got lost in the eyes.
I'm like, maybe he's go back, maybe he's single.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, and it hit me immediately. So like, yeah, you know who I am. So yeah, it's a thankless job. It sucks. And if somebody gets caught doing it, then it's like now all cops are bad. So yeah, most of them, one of the guy graduated school with, he just put his head down, did his work. He got his 20, was gonna leave, but then he got a really cush desk job. He hit the weekends with his kids, left on time. It's like, I'm young, I'm in my 40s. I'll put in another 10 years. I get a better pension. So yeah, he's retired.
Good
Good
for
for him,
him, yeah.
right? I see him, I'm still working. We're the same age. I mean, I didn't deal with the stresses he dealt with. I had a lot more fun than he did. He's gotten out older.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to see that, these nothing is what it appears from the outside. In fact, that's the best thing about my job is I've come across all kinds of people, all walks of life. People that literally live on Rodeo. A lot of people think Rodeo drive shopping, sure. But if you go north of Santa Monica Boulevard, there are beautiful houses right on Rodeo. Same ones you see in the movies, right?
Uh-huh.
Clients that live on Rodeo and other parts of Beverly Hills too. Clients that were born wealthy, some, in the words of Shakespeare, some are born great, some become great, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Wealth is like that. Some are born
Yeah.
wealthy, some become wealthy, and some have wealth thrust upon them. And they have very different attitudes depending upon that. But the one takeaway I came across from everything is no one's life is what it's practically from the outside, no matter how much it looks good to you. Uh,
Yeah.
I use Elon Musk as an example. Here's a man that arguably has enough money to do whatever the hell he wants to for the rest of his life.
Uh-huh.
He's his adult brain, tweeting all hours of the night, right? Nonstop. it's like he doesn't know who he is if he's not with him, right?
Yeah.
That's not a free man. That's like,
That's
right?
a machine. No, that's something
Right.
else. The
It's
Neuralink.
precisely. It's Neuralink, right? Where now we have control. He's really looking for control, and that's how it is, right? How he does
Oh yeah.
things. Yeah, I mean, the stories don't add up. I thought it was really funny how people said, "Oh, that fight between him and Trump, that was a ruse to get, stock price up." I'm like, well, it didn't work for a while, but number two, no, because a ruse would be, I disagree with Trump on X, Y, and Z. He doesn't know what he's doing. That's enough to piss off Trump.
Oh yeah.
Tweet out, he's in the Epstein file. Oh, he drew blood. And I think that's why he got quiet really quick, because it's like, are you a fool? Like, even if you're right, this guy could have you on the next slow boat to South Africa in shame, right?
Oh yeah.
And take away everything you have. And sure, Elon Musk, unless he's in prison, one of those people that even if he was exiled to South Africa, he could say, I'm starting a new venture, and he would get $1 trillion overnight, right?
Yep.
I would invest in that because the guy's proven entity. He knows
He's
how.
an animal. There's more than one of them.
Exactly. But man, like, this is not a happy guy. This is not a happy guy. So,
I don't think there's emotions with that guy.
oh, for sure there is. This
I
guy,
think I think they're twisted. I think they're really twisted. Like,
they probably are, but it's funny you say that. There's a great book I think you would like. It's called Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. He won the Nobel Prize. Even the psychologist won the Nobel Prize for economics.
what is that book called? Let me write that down.
Thinking Fast and Slow.
Thinking fast and slow. Okay.
Mhm. And it talks about how it models out two systems of thinking. It's one of the reasons why we have a lot of trouble making decisions. He actually came up with what's known as prospect theory, and that is the idea that all decisions are made in a context. So one example is your account loses $100. Does that matter? Well, it's a penny. If all your account has is $500, well, yeah, it matters, right? You just,
Uh-huh.
but if your account has $5 million, how did you know it, right? Because you probably have a lot
Uh-huh.
of connections, a lot of interest, a lot of, right? It's like, how did you notice $100, right? So same thing when it comes to decisions. They're not, we tend to think we make optimum decisions at all. No, we generally satisfy, which means that we have enough information and we make good enough decision, and that's how most of us do. And actually, there's enough data to show that that's a better way to live, because people will optimize, but always look for the best possible response to every single dimension of their life. They tend to be unhappy because is it really good enough? And also, there's what's known as the paradox of choice. So it's kind of sad if someone is like hypergamous, as they call the men that are in the top 10%. You have all these women come at you, or a woman, top 10%, all these men. You got too many choices. And what happens
Uh-huh.
when you have that many choices is you get paralysis by analysis. That's a real thing.
Yep. Oh yeah, I know.
Oh yeah, and then what's really shitty is the way your brain it plays tricks on you. So the moment you make a decision, that very instant, your choice starts looking bad and the rest of them start looking good. The moment you do that.
Yeah.
And so it sucks to be finding yourself in that position. You tend to think, oh, the more options, better. No. And it's counterintuitive, and so is life. I mean, if physics have shown us anything, if Darwinism has shown us anything, is our intuitions are there for a very specific purpose, and they are not the right idea for every single possible example. Investing is one of them. I mean, Warren Buffett will tell you that you
Yeah.
can't always use intuition with investing because you don't know, because now you're in feeling mode, not thinking mode, and fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, like the four different ways of dealing with stress,
Yep.
can hijack everything. So you're already in this non-verbal, non-analytic mode of thinking. And then fear comes up. Well, you're still not in it, but you're used to following your gut. And is it really your gut? Not necessarily, but it is sensate. And so because of that now, I'm going to sell my stuff because everybody else is, even though
Uh-huh.
now's the time we should be buying it and stuff like that, depending upon what we're talking about. But I don't know
So
how
you
is that
gotta, yeah. You gotta
going.
keep your heart out of it, is what you're saying?
To a certain extent, you have to be dispassionate about it. Yeah, you have to. I
Yeah.
mean, you get emotional about stock. It's funny. That's a great line from Wall Street. Never get emotional about stock. It causes judgment. I made that mistake. I got emotional when Netflix started hounding people about, and told me I couldn't share my account when I'm from New York. My aunt canceled me and I sold my stock even though I tripled my money. What a mistake. What I'm
Yeah.
looking back, but I happen to look back like, oh, it would have been 5 times. Anyway.
Can't think like that. Can't
No,
think like that.
not when it comes to, and the hard part is, so now you know why they're advisors. Because half of our job is guiding people from shooting themselves in the foot. Because that's where most bad decisions are made. They, you know, they don't know that the tool. I mean, you know, it's one way I use to really show this, but I just want, I'll show you. Are you familiar with the Muller-Lyer optical illusion?
No, I've never seen that.
Okay, you probably have seen it. You probably don't know the name because every time I see it, people are like, oh yeah, I've seen it. But let me share my
Uh-huh.
screen. Hold on. Share and here we
All right, let's see.
go.
All
Okay,
right. Yep.
see it?
Uh-huh.
You, have you ever seen this before?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. When all the lines are the same length, they look okay.
Right? Now, here's what's interesting. So now we know this is an optical illusion. But the issue
Uh-huh.
is this, that just knowing that, now that you see this, unless someone really shows it, does it take away the illusion? Like if we're seeing this segment A to segment B, you know what? No, serious? What?
No, it's
I,
everything now.
I always find it kind of insulting that a website is making sure that I'm not a robot. But
Yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
you might be one of the most human humans I've met.
Thank you. Well, I did study humanities. Uh,
Yeah. Oh, well,
all right, but we see this now, right? And now here's the thing: they don't look the same length, do they?
no, they do look not because now I know. Like I'm looking at the line, not even the arrows.
No, but do they look the same? Even though you know, do they appear the same?
I guess not.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Most illusions are persistent, even when you know it's an illusion. It doesn't cease to become an illusion. It will.
Yeah.
So, what does that tell you? And that's what Daniel Kahneman talks about. That means that this mode of thinking that he's seeing this cannot be relied upon to make an optimum decision when it comes to this situation. Because I'm not seeing reality. My eyes are still playing tricks on me. I can't, unless I take a line and start actually doing the vertical, right, perpendicular to the
Yeah.
it's not going to ring true because those endpoints really do extend the line in my thing, where the other one closes it. So it does
Yeah.
with like what centimeter difference or so. And so
Yeah. Not like a couple pixels, but like,
exactly.
yeah, you're right. I still, yeah, D looks way longer.
Yeah, and so that's the issue. And so I always show that to clients, say, this, there are a lot of things in life that are like that, and especially man-made things, right? And
Uh-huh.
okay. Yes, it's human behavior that drives all these different things, but it's still within a context of man-made control and all other stuff. So because of that, there are certain things that we can be prey to, like seeing everybody go in and buy the same stock at the same time. It goes out, oh, now it's safe. Like, yeah, you'll get some points that way, but then what happens when it starts coming the other way? You know, during 2008, I did this sort of thought experiment with clients. So imagine you're walking up a hill. You can't see what's on the other side of that hill, but you're getting close.
Uh-huh.
Now, as you're walking, someone from the other side of the hill comes, fear in their eyes, they're running the other way. You keep going. Now, two more people, same thing, fear, running. My question then becomes, what are you tempted to do? Do you continue to go to the edge? Or how long do you wait before you think, you know what, if they're running in the start into it, I would get a head start. And I wait for an answer because their answer will tell me something about their risk tolerance. If they say, no, it's not running now because obviously they're afraid of something. Well, now you're getting accused of prep. So the Warren Buffett way will not work with you, right? No matter how much it's blue in the face, no matter I could show you, I could have Warren Buffett call you. I'm buying some more stock today, right? And you could buy,
Uh-huh.
but unless you start going the direction that you expect, it's still going to be anxiety, anxiety, anxiety. And
Yeah.
so that's where my company goes different in terms of how we do financial planning because yeah, everybody wants uh, to, to, to have a happy and successful retirement. Most people don't know what that means. And they think, well, if I pay my bills, then I'm okay. Well, no. You have to pay your bills short. And you have to be prepared for the health care issues that will inevitably hit later, right? No way about until how good your diet is, right? Maybe
Yeah.
another way to reverse entropy, all right? But I doubt,
Uh-huh.
even if we look younger, we'll have beautiful corpses, but corpses nonetheless, right? So,
Like Brian Johnson or whatever.
right?
Yeah.
So it's actually living where you feel you actually have a sense of fulfillment. So for some people, that's a chapter two, what they always want to do. Some people it's traveling, some people it's that, but you have to plan it. You can't just go day to day. Especially, I tend to see that men suffer from this problem more than women do. That's why it's true that men and women really do need to take separate tasks if they're alone with their financial planning, longevity, concerns, kinds of things, right? Um, are different. And men tend to like, this is fine, I'm cool. Like, yeah, okay, I haven't left my house in a month. What they don't get is like you're deteriorating, right? You're
Yeah.
cognitive. I have seen it firsthand, where one client where I had to call his trusted contact, the guy who was going to have it, because he's starting to resist. And luckily that was enough to kind of stave it off. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's just how, gravity is a very strong force when you're on top of it. So never think you're going to pull someone up. They're going to drag you. And life drags us all.
Yeah.
The question is are you going to go down smiling? And if you go down smiling, you better make sure that it doesn't catch you by surprise. And how do you do that? Same way the Boy Scouts do. Be prepared, be prepared, be prepared.
Yeah.
So,
Preparation,
right.
the
So
biggest thing.
I guess thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah. No, dude, I love these. It makes my job very easy. So, and you give me a lot of give me a lot of bites. But
I mean, if you have any questions, go ahead. I mean,
no, I mean, I have so many questions, but I guess, I guess one of the things I've heard from another guy, he's a day trader. So I guess it's similar, but he said, every day the secret is like he's profitable because every day, no matter what, he makes the same trade at a certain time on a certain market based on these certain things. It's not like the exact same trade, but it's the same principles. And he makes it. And some days he loses a couple $100, some days he makes a couple $100. But he has to be okay with the days where he loses that money, and you can't get scared.
so he's smart. All right. So what's funny is that the data for day traders is always been the same. 5% make money, 5% break even, 90% lose, right?
Yeah.
Because he's got something most of them don't. He has a discipline, right?
Hmm.
Knows this. If someone wants to be a day trader, I would say Market Wizards is a great book to start with. Another one is Turtle Traders. Turtle Traders, Rich Shirt, I forgot his last name, but he was a guy just out of high school, would go into the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, trade futures, blow everybody out of the water. And they thought, well, you've got some special acumen. He's like, no, I'm going to prove anyone can do it. So he found, I think, 5 or 10 people. The only thing that he wanted from them is number one, no finance background, and number two, very different. So I think one is cop, I mean, just nothing. Taught him trend trading. And inside of a year, they were all outperforming. Now some of
Wow.
them, and what these guys have and gals have is rigid, strict risk management. So your friend talks about, I make 200, lose 200, but overall he's gaining gain. Like he's going to look at the trend.
Yeah.
One of the things, so here's one risk management thing that some of these day traders do. They only put 4% of their capital into an idea, right? Because number one, never, ever spend your capital because it's hard to get, right? And so let's say they lose money on that. The next deal is 3% because your onus, right? The incentive is like, I got to make it out. I'm going to double on this. Well, what happens if you're in a losing trend? You go further down. That's why they only go 3%. If that loses, 2% on the next one. And they will go that way until the trend reverses. So what have they done? They've limited their losses. They haven't blown themselves up because you have to check the ego at the door when it comes to day trading. I don't do a lot of day trading. Even in my own,
Yeah.
you do one or two high conviction trades for a year. And so far, I've been right with them. That being said, I got right with puts on the S&P because Trump took a very, very non-methodical approach to the interest
Yeah.
rate, spooked the markets. I took my money in the end. I knew they're going to rebound somewhere. Let me get out of here. Actually, I left one contract open in case maybe I'll say some more contract, but the other ones are all in the green. And so, but what I should have done was staggered, right? Instead of just making it one, where because at nine,
Uh,
like come on, seven. You never want to do that. I have a friend, he is more insurance minded, which is really funny. His clients say, can you do that with me? I'm well, like I told you before, my portfolio should not look like yours. The other thing is I have to act as a fiduciary, right? So I'm a chartered financial analyst as well as a certified financial planner professional. So to maintain both of those, not only is it difficult to get, but the agreement is you have to take a fiduciary approach with every client, or you lose the designation. That's it. It doesn't matter if the firm you work with doesn't do it, you still have to do it. Now, luckily, I'm an independent, so the firm is it's up to you. And there are some,
yeah.
no, I'm not a fiduciary. I'm all right, yeah, as long as you disclose that, they know like I'm taking my risk, but the guy's got great performance, right? So mine can't look the way theirs look, but it has to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my friend who actually takes even he goes just insurance, he had one client that he had done millions of dollars in annuities with. And so she's like, listen, I got 30 grand. I'm gonna give you carte blanche, make a discretionary trade. In less than a year, he turned it to 600,000, that 30 grand using
30 to 600.
and I follow some of his trades, and he's on it like daily. Like I've seen he reviews his own charts. He's picked up years. He shows me the people he follows. I've looked at some of those guys, and I can see where he'll take some of the information, meld it with other stuff he knows, but it doesn't fit the same way. It doesn't hit my ears the way it hits his ears because he has a whole other process to go through.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is possible. But the other thing is, your friend was also right when he said the type of market. This is like the late 90s where everything it's starting to clamor down. Like we're getting what they call less threat in the market, which means
Uh,
people are dragging gains, which is easy to do when you consider that the top two stocks, the S&P, make up 13% of the index, right?
yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we looked at this last time.
That's why it gets top heavy. So yeah, it's a discipline. He does it. I like being in every day, especially the broker I use, the online brokerage I use, they're known for having the best fill for every single time. It's two-factor authentication. You don't want to change it. It's like hurry. And he's like a Robin Hood. Like he's already like in, out, and done before I'm even logging in. Like, oh, code round two, enter.
Yeah.
So that's and some people love it. And I tell people this all the time. Like, look, I love working out. I've been hitting the gym for like 20 years, basically.
Yeah.
And I don't really need a coach. Like I've talked to physical therapists. I'm sorry, fitness trainers. And I asked, what would we do? What would I be paying you for? And yeah, it's something like, I'll help you do this, help you do that, but it wasn't really a value add for me, given what I was paying. And there is a percentage of population out there that love this, that there's very little value. Like even if we take it that where we had value, like I have one client who does all his own tradings. He sees me once a year, pays me a flat rate, where we go over the taxation part of it. We go over let's make sure we optimize here, there, and there, so you don't get a big tax bill in. Because he's so busy trading, and you learn the hard way, like, oh my God, I made all this money and I had to pay so much in tax. Like, yeah, because they're all long-term, short-term capital gains. Short-term capital gains are the same as ordinary income. So it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. The more you make, the more they make. They love it. Keep doing it.
Oh yeah.
We taught them tax loss harvesting economy. You know what? Even corporations have a central portfolio where most of their capital grows and everything's taxable. So what we do is we build it out. We start banking any losses. Like, here's one thing I show clients. Well, actually, I can share it. It's the third
Show them
part.
all these portfolios.
No, no, no. It shows that in 2023, even though the S&P was up 24%, a third of the stocks were down. And so what I tell people is that, and that's what we're doing with a lot of people. When you're young, a Roth IRA or a Roth 401k, great idea. Start it, fund it till it hurts, and then fund some more, right? I
Yeah.
mean, save. In fact, there's some studies, and you can look it up, where back in the day when I started, $2,000 was all you paying per year. And they followed a woman who did 2,000 a year for just 10 years. And we're assuming 8% growth. And she never touched it again. She started when she was 25, stopped when she was 30. Then a man, 43, went to was 63, so 20 years, and put in twice as much, 4,000. He never caught up.
Really?
The compounding stuff. Because
Yeah.
that saying, it's attributed to Albert Einstein, the most powerful force in the universe is compound interest. Right? He's being tongue in cheek, and he was like, yeah,
Uh-huh.
10% of 1,000, $100. It's nice, right? When you
Uh-huh.
get a million, that's $100,000 a year, right? A lot of people don't make that.
It's
So,
crazy.
right. And then when you start, and that really is what separates you up, is really it's these long-term investing strategies. And that's what people forget because they hear like, oh, I know a guy who bought Nvidia at the IPO. And the other thing I see all the time. Oh, you got an IPO? Did you?
No, I had Nvidia at one point, but
Oh, I know. Listen, I kick myself over to Netflix, but and so when I watch Black Rabbit, I'm like, yeah, I could have been making money off this, but but I love Jason Bateman, so I watched it anyway.
he's
Uh,
amazing.
maybe I'll buy it again. Who knows?
I'll
But
share it with you.
but what was I gonna say? The uh the fact is that without you have to know the kind of investor you are. If you're the type of person like, look, I want to get in shape, but I don't care about this stuff. I want someone to tell me what to do. Then you need a fitness trainer and a nutritionist and a dietitian and everybody, right? But if like, no, I subscribe to men's health or women's health, and I read muscle fitness, you don't need this, right?
Hmm.
where where it starts to become like, yeah, you'll still need someone. And this is what you see it actually is when you become a super bodybuilder and now you're competing. Those guys all have trainers because
Of
now
course.
everyone, and it's the same thing once you hit the 7-figure mark. Once you have 1 million investable assets, what got you there is not what's going to keep you there. And some of the strategies you use are not the best strategies. And there are other strategies you haven't even thought of. All right, for example, the one big beautiful bill act. Well,
Yeah.
stuff, right? It gave great cuts to the wealthy and some pittance to other people. Like, oh, no tax on tips. Yeah, I can make $25,000 or less and only for the next 2 years,
Are you
right?
serious?
Oh yeah, look it up. Oh yeah.
Oh man, I'm not educated.
And then what? Same thing with the extra $6,000 that in what the standard deduction that senior citizens get between 65 and up. That phases out if you make $75,000 or more single, or 150 and more is good. And again, next 3 years. What doesn't phase out in 3 years? It used to be about 11 to $12 million per person for what was known as the estate tax threshold. So the way it used to work is, let's say you die, you're the patriarch, you got all these kids, and your estate was worth 15 million. So it used to be like, okay, well, 11, you're not married in this scenario, 11 million is covered, like can go to your kids, and nobody pays tax on it. But that extra 4 million, right? I mean, I think it's a 15 million this one. The extra 4 million, that is subject to taxation and a really high rate too. And you have 9 months to pay them, and they don't take property. So let's say you're illiquid. Let's say a lot of your stuff's in a farm or in houses. You better sell, and you better sell quick, or get a loan against it. So what did Trump do?
Jeez.
He raised it to 15 million for single person, 30 million for married couple. Now, how many people?
Uh-huh.
That's big. That's many, right? And they're just
1%.
for replacement. That's tens of thousands per year, right? That is going to go up. Could even be 100,000, right? But it goes up in 1 year. So he's really given. And so what's that going to do? Well, if I'm, let's say, the Mars family, that everybody's eating the candy, and let's face it, I still love to say this: we have schedules on drugs not because of the nature of the substance, but because of the effect, right?
Yeah.
And food has been engineered to have that same effect, as has social media. So the question becomes, right? So but I'm Mr. Mars, and now I've got more and more capital, and my capital's private. Um, I'm not public traded, so I don't have to answer anybody. So what happens?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? We invite influence, right? So as this wealth inequality continues, I mean, it took two world wars to get us out of what was known as the Gilded Age in the US. You know, we had a pandemic that might have changed things if it played out the way it would have played out if but for lockdown. I love hearing people say lockdown was such a mistake, and yes, it had its costs. But then I ask people, you know what society would have looked like 2 years later? I mean,
Yeah.
like deaths everywhere, right? It would have been a real show. And if you want, just look at what happened when in China, when there was pressure and Xi Jinping said finally, okay, fine, no more lockdown. And this is about 2022, 2023,
Yeah.
and just drove the bodies, drove and long lines into the incinerators because they weren't even going to the funeral parlors. The funeral parlors like, no, if they're dead, we don't want them. We don't want them. It's terrible. It's terrible. So this it's going to be very interesting to see how the future plays out with the markets because here's my personal belief, and
Yeah.
this is something that people your age should really pay attention to because if I'm right, it's a huge opportunity. So we still have some really good people that can outperform the market, not just because they pick winners, but actually it's also a function of risk management. I'll name one, Capital Group. Capital Group that does the American funds, everybody loves them. Why? One of the reasons is that they've been able to outperform many of their benchmarks. Sounds like they're geniuses. They're great risk managers. They get about 80 to 90% of the upside, but only about 50 to 60% of downside. When you
Hmm.
think that way, you can outperform the market because when the market has a huge correction or a huge downturn, it takes a while to get out of the hole. And that's because we don't know, we haven't worked out the math. So for example, if your portfolio falls by 10%, it takes 11 to 12% to break even. Here's another way to think about it. Your portfolio falls by half, like 50%. You had to double to break even. You need a 100% return to break even.
Yeah.
Falls by 40%. Oh, it takes 20% next year. Great, you're still down. You're still down, right?
Yeah.
So they were able to, and that's why people flock to them, right? And this is one of the reasons why advisors, they have the clients they have, and now fewer and fewer people listen to advisors, but I just index. What happens the next time we have a market downturn? Because it's not an if, it's a when. Well, these people that felt like geniuses are not going to feel like geniuses, right?
Yeah.
There's an inflection point here in that AI is going to figure out just the right recipe that
Right, like a wave.
right, that Capital Group and other people like them are doing, DoubleTree, all these guys, right? Or Double Line, not Double, sorry, Double Line. Double Line does bonds, and there's money in it. You can make double digits on bonds, but you're doing credit plays at that point in time, right? You find a bond, it's underrated, right? They gave it a triple B rating, you know it should have at least an A minus, and it's going to go, so I buy it now. And hey, in the meantime, I got the coupon, and it went up 10% because I was right. Yeah, there are bond guys that make them, especially out here in California. Um, but AI is going to figure out how they get on the stock side that extra money. Bond side is too tough. What happens when more and more people know your secret? It erodes away the yield, right?
Yeah.
I don't know now to talk about my favorite writers. One of his best lines is knowledge is power, only if you keep it to yourself. So
Hmm.
that's going to get eroded away. On
Yeah.
the other side of the equation, we're seeing this happen. So the Russell 2000, that's the index that follows small caps. And look up until 2021, the Russell 2000 outperformed the S&P 500. Small caps outperformed large caps. Why? Much bigger growth potential. These are companies that are either mature with a small float, so there's opportunity there, or they're smaller companies that have the opportunity. But because, for growth, because they don't have as many competitors, right? They still have higher margins. Because
Yeah.
there's many more competitors, from the margins, all that stuff. But what we notice now is it's starting to underperform the S&P. And why is that? Well, in the last 3 years, big private equity names like KKR or Carlyle are going up to the best names in the Russell saying, you know what? Let's re-privatize, right?
Uh-huh.
When we were privatizing, now you don't have these quarterly goals that you have to worry about. You can do more longitudinal planning. The other thing nobody talks about, but I learned firsthand when I worked for Union Bank, is that when something's been privatized, all those options vest immediately. So, in most cases, so these guys that otherwise had to wait 3, 4, 10 years, like, oh no, now it's privatized. I get my payout and
Uh-huh.
private shares, and how are private shares valued? Well, here's an interesting gambit, and that I saw firsthand. I have clients that work at SpaceX. One of them retired, so she has SpaceX stock because he offers it to people that work there. It's still not.
Yeah.
2022, S&P fell double digit. NASDAQ fell double digit. Bonds fell double digit. SpaceX stock went up 10%. Why?
Oh wow.
Because that's what Morgan Stanley said it was like. And why? Because you got Elon Musk saying, I'll go to Goldman Sachs unless you put 10%. I'm willing to bet that conversation happened because it makes no sense
And then they just
that this
what?
when everything else was down. But private equity, you can kind of play with those numbers. What's it worth?
Oh, okay.
I mean, how can we look over your shoulder? It's private, right? You're not putting 10 Qs up. You're not. So there's going to be a niche for these guys that are able to figure out private. And unfortunately, it's going to take a lot of cost. So that's where it's going to be feast or famine, where you either index, you do what the market does, but if you want outsized return, you got to do this, but it's going to cost you because, I mean, one thing a hedge fund, several hedge funds do, they will rent out satellites to during the weeks leading up to Christmas to look at the parking lot to see how many people are there versus last year.
What?
Because every little bit of analysis could make. Remember, the 1% difference between the fastest horse and the slowest horse is less than. I mean, the difference is less than a second, right? So,
Uh
aiming for these margins to let you know, just to hit the top, what 1% or the top 2%. You don't have to be a multi-million, right? But that's what. All right, like all right. I'll use an example. Top 2% in IQ is 145, right?
mhm.
But we know people that have 150, 160, 200, right?
Yeah.
Think about the difference between 145 and 200. That's a 33% difference, right? That's the problem people get. They're like, oh, top 2%. But when you hit that tail, the variances go crazy, right?
Yeah.
In that tail is a 40% downturn in the market. In that tail is Nvidia going up 1,000% in 2 years. In that 2% tail. But
Yeah.
once you cross that threshold, it's rarefied. It's weird, right? So in the future, then you really, 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 really either have to start early and start doing it, or try to get in with private equity somehow, and that's very difficult. It's very tricky. You need to start from grad school. You need an MBA, right, to get into the
Yeah.
major. Um, when like I told you, when people ask me, what's your advice? It's what the day is like. Pick that. But I also tell people, and this is something I didn't come up. Ian Bremmer, who's one of my heroes, really, really, really bright guy, who's a geopolitical strategist. Um, and he tells people, yeah, you got to follow your passion, but the other thing is you got to realize we are in a two-tier system. I mean, that's just the fact. And how do I get into the upper echelon if I want to get in the upper echelon? Well, I have to get into the. So how do you do it? Proximity. So get into the best school you can get into, right? And if you can't, let's say you can't get into Harvard or MIT, there are tons of other schools in Boston. I tell people go to Boston because BU, Boston College, bunch of other places there, right?
Yeah.
Meet these people at bars around. You want to get near them because what happens is if you're of value to them, they then say, you know what? I know Isaac, and Isaac was able to help me out with this. Maybe he can help you out too. And this is where we lead it. And there's no other way around it because power doesn't assert itself just by being able to do. It asserts itself by keeping others out. Great book to read, The Great Reversal by Thomas Philippon. He's economist out of NYU Stern. Starts with a simple question. Why is cell phone service so much more expensive in the US than Europe and Asia and with much less functionality? When it goes down, it's really a good read. If you want to get wonky, as they say in the economics, he saves that for the appendices, so you don't have to get into the math of it. But essentially, it's because the more money the interest become, the more they're able to put barriers to entry. So what happens as they get wealthier, they don't put more money into customer service, and they want more of that. They don't put
Uh,
hiring more people. No, stock options, stock buybacks, and lining the pockets of lobbyists to go talk to Washington D.C.
yeah.
to keep my competitors at bay. The best example I can show you of this is Boeing. When we started in Washington, when they moved to Chicago because of the merger with McDonnell Douglas, everybody hated it, changed the culture. Now they've had problem after problem. Problem stocks now back up to 200 plus, right? For them. Where's their new headquarters going to be at? Washington, D.C. Is
Look at
there,
that.
is there a lot of room to build planes there? No. You know what's there? The politicians, the guys in the contract, the guys, especially now that China's getting in the game.
Yeah.
China has the ability to do something, could eat everybody's lunch. It could lock leader things for a very long time. And Xi Jinping has signaled like economic prowess for the country is not my first, it's not his highest priority. The reunification of traditional China food. And you see that when it took him a good 6 to 12 months to even do anything to help bail out these trust companies that were flaring with the real estate loans that were kind of weight on the Chinese economy. It was projected to go 5% last year or this year because of that. The slowest growth it had, Xi Jinping was unfazed. I think some of the changes that happened with automation and everything have changed his tack, but it does give us insight into what he's really all about, right?
Yeah.
So I think I'm very secure this route. To tell you guys that if you really, really, really want to make a difference, especially at young age, start soon. Indexing is a good idea. If you have a taste for trading, um, learn the hard way, which is start following other people. One book is not going to do it for you. Because think about it. They write that book so other people die. If everybody starts following the same advice, then all those advantages.
Yeah.
So you've got to find, so your friend has found his own thing. I have another friend, he's found his own stuff. And yeah, it's like $1, 1% here, 1% there. But if he gets 3% a week, what's that? 12% a month, right? Not bad.
Not
That
bad at all.
that's how he's able to turn that 30 in September. They're doing a little bit more than that, and leveraging too. But
Yeah. So, but guys like that that are able to turn 30 into 600, why would they ever take on clients and do that for them instead of just doing it with their own money?
so very good question. I asked him the same thing.
Uh-huh.
Um, he actually did it. How did he put it? It's like it's easier when it's not you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw this firsthand because a buddy of mine was also trading. He did the simulation, and that's why I said go and do it. Because when you do simulation, you can actually say, "Oh, I'm a genius. This is great. I got a system." It's different when the money's involved. It's different when it's your capital involved. Now,
Yeah.
he has made that kind of money in this capital. He did some calls on Tesla because he thought it was going to rally back. He made 6 figures off this call. So he does do it, but yeah, why I mean, he kind of is semi-retired. He's my age. And so he trades this and then he does that. And you meet the guy, he's fun to talk to, he's really bright, and he's very, very chill. But he also knows that, yeah, that there's only so many risks he can take with his own portfolio because he's got 2 kids, he thinks about them, right? And so sometimes the very things that tell you to do something can also be in the way, like, oh God, if I mess up, then then we're gonna have to take out loans, we're gonna have to make it back.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's why. And also something to do. Like, let me tell you, one of the reasons I don't do daily trading that he does, because I know I could drive up to his house, beat his door down and say, look, we're gonna take 2 days into teach me. But to be in front of the computer day in, day out for me is hard. I do well with people. I like people. So that's
Yeah.
why when AI finally takes over everything, my background is going to be like, I'll survive, right? Because I have the skills to intermingle with people, right? And can
Yeah.
tell for now, it's going to outsmart us all. Um,
Yep.
so it comes down to, and that's the third thing I'll give best advice I give someone your age. People say know yourself, and you've heard that. I've heard most it, or it's in like the Matrix even. Uh,
Uh-huh.
one of the things they never talk about though, as part of knowing yourself, is knowing your weak spots, knowing what your hiccups are, knowing your blind spots, right? And this is why this is important. The fact is, they probably will always be blind spots. They probably will always be weaknesses. It is a waste of time to try to strengthen them or try to test them, try to become some ubermensch. If I could say that all the time I wasted at your age doing that, I'd be retired. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a great book I mentioned, the Dopamine Nation. Um, she always tells people, yeah, Anna Lempke, and she says, she's a very compassionate approach because everybody has a weakness, and if you don't have one yet, congratulations, you just haven't met it yet, right?
Yep.
It won't be a substance for her. She gets very personal. She talks about for her. It started with the Twilight series, and then she got into vampire erotica, and then
What
just
in the world?
and then she started behaving like an addict. She would buy the books, but hide them behind scholarly journals so her family doesn't know what she was doing. And then she bought herself a Kindle so that way she could just download them, not wait for them to come, and then nobody knows what she's reading. Yeah, there were scripts, and she would be in the hotel room reading. Exactly.
Addicted to reading. Holy crap.
Type of it. And where she found out, like, if you go 2/3 into it, they have the bodice ripping scene, which is what she wanted, right? So that was her monkey, as we call it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody has to. If you find yours, respect it through wide birth. If alcohol's it, don't become a bartender. Don't go to bars. Don't press it. That alone will help people experience more happiness and more success in their life. Because what happens is that we're only human. We only have so much willpower. We only have so much cognitive load. If you keep testing yourself, one day, statistically, you're going to get it wrong. And depending upon the drug, you're right back to square one. I was a two-pack a day smoker for as long
Really?
for almost as long as you were alive. 2 packs a day. I would light one with the other one. Like my friends would laugh at me. I quit 23 years ago. No, 21 years.
Really?
I quit 21 years ago. Yeah.
How old are you, man? I thought you were like late 30s.
I started really young.
Out the womb.
There we go. Oh my God. Reminds me of a joke that is not safe for work. Anyway,
No, not safe for podcast.
my
Hey,
best.
this is the free speech.
I get it, but I don't know who's going to say this, and I do
No, I
anyway.
know this is too public.
But I now tell myself I'm one away from 2 packs a day, which is probably the truth. Because now when I smell it, ugh, it's just the very smell of it. Just
Yeah.
rub. But and that first one would be horrible. The second one, horrible. Third one would be the beginning of the new. And then
Yeah.
next, I'd be fighting with craving. And because that's another thing the book talks about is even though we don't use those neurons anymore, it's really hard to regroup into other things. And so the moment we go back, it remembers it. Like, oh, I remember this. Yeah, let's keep it coming. Come on. No,
Yeah.
and nicotine is a wonder drug, right? It curbs appetite, wakes you up, relaxes you if you're nervous. It is a wonder drug, but it's all the other crap that comes with cigarettes that really kills you.
Yeah.
So that would be
So
the
those
first,
those pouches.
right? So start early, um, have a plan to get near centers of influence, depending upon what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Know your weaknesses and respect them, right? Mitigate for them, right? Just like, listen, the Germans have a great saying, there is no bad weather, only bad clothing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's gonna rain sometimes. It was your fault that you didn't bring an umbrella, right?
Uh-huh.
If whatever it does for you, I don't care if it's, if it's Brett on them. It's not Brad Pitt. That's my, yeah. I mean, girls,
You, Brad Pitt, Chris Hemsworth, all these guys.
I mean, for me, I was in love with Angelina Jolie, right? So, you know, and in fact, I saw her. I was like 5 feet from her when Mr. and Mrs. Smith was out, and she was much.
What?
Um, right. So that's okay.
Don't let the wife see that.
Um, but you know, if you're weak for that, right, then avoid it. Just avoid it because
Yeah.
when you're in that mindset, when you're under the influence of something, you're not making optimal decisions, no matter how
Mm,
much fun it feels.
yeah.
So that would be the best three things. Like if I go back and change, oh, buy Apple, you know, 99, sure, yeah. But the bottom line is, look how many stories we have about people that ruin their lives after the lottery. If you don't have the right systems in place, you're going to lose it. It doesn't matter how much money comes your way, right?
Yep.
You know, a fool and his money are soon parted, is the way Benjamin Franklin put it. Oliver Stone did a nice little twist on it in Wall Street. A fool and his money were lucky enough to get together in the first place, right? It's
Yeah.
time till it's gone because you can count on people being who they are. Hence, knows. So those three things, man, if you take them to heart, you could be, you could hit 40 and have enough FU money to decide what to do. And FU money is going to be different from everybody, right? Some people, oh, I gotta have the very well manicured and now AI influencer lifestyle, which I promise you they're not living, right?
There's
And
no the influencer
exactly.
facade.
And the other thing that they don't get is that let's say they are living it. It's called hedonic adaptation. If you're limoed everywhere, a limo is just another car after a while. You will not get the same. I don't care if she's an 11 on a scale of 1 to 10. She's gonna be a pain. One day, you know, show me a beautiful woman. I'll show you a guy who's sick of her stuff or her crap, right? Works with
Yep.
you. And so that and FU money though really is how much money do I need? Where I can wake up and say, you know what? I don't need to do anything though. I can
Yeah.
do nothing, right? Now that becomes the real important part because if people do nothing, I should start wasting away. That's why Warren Buffett always said, I made sure to give my kids enough money they could do anything, but not enough money so they can do nothing. Because you know, doing nothing is not only a waste of life, but you just become an indulgent entity, right? And same thing with retirement. I always tell people, you need to come up. In fact, I make them tell me what their plan is because if I just say, hey, you better do something, and here's a plan, and you know you can make it, and see you next year. No, I'm not helping them at all because if they have the temptation to do nothing, they will start wasting away. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, it's just the way it works. If you don't, what the line in Shawshank Redemption, you got to get very busy living, but get busy time. And so that is what I would
Wow.
think of.
Amazing movie.
And hopefully you live a better life because if you have FU money at 40, you can really make a difference when you have that many years ahead of you.
Yeah. So yeah, money is just a tool and a drug all in
I,
one.
you know, if you haven't seen Wall Street, you really should watch it because Oliver Stone's dad was a stockbroker. He actually thanks he dedicates it to his father at the very end.
Really?
And Martin Sheen, Charlie Sheen's father, plays his father in the movie. And what's
Wow.
even line that he uses there with my clients, because I this is not the line. What I remind clients is that every dollar you've ever made, saved, is going to end up in someone else's hands. It's just the way you can't take it with you, right? So I help him build perspective. But the way he put it in the movie is like, money is only something you need in case you don't die tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
If you're not going to die tomorrow, do you really need it, right? And I
Uh-huh.
put it because the idea of dying is one of those wake up. It's the final answer. If I don't, it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank. If you didn't live the way you wanted to live, it's wasted money. It's as bad as saying I shouldn't have spent that much time at the office, right? No, I
Yeah.
died with 10 million in the bank. Great. If you wanted to give it to your kids, then yeah, you checked off that list. But with God, you probably, I saw that firsthand. Great guy, loved him to death. He was one of my favorite clients.
Yeah.
And you know, 3 months before he was going to turn 15 and a half, they gave him cigarettes. And it was going to end right when he turned 15 and a half. I'm like, awesome. We'll turn on the spigots right then. And then that way you won't have the 10% penalty. And he had enough. He set an appointment a month later. 2 weeks later,
Yeah.
his brother died of congestive heart failure.
Wow.
$3 million that he understood. $3 million from saving, action, all this stuff that never got paid.
Wow. That's a lot of life there.
Yeah, died in a one-bedroom apartment alone.
Yeah.
So
Wow. That's crazy.
that should put it in perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. I think money represents everything that's wrong with the world, but it's also the key to finding out what's right with it too. Like,
I see what you mean. I mean, one of my favorite lines from Hamlet is "There's nothing good or bad, yet thinking makes it so." And yeah, anything that can be positive can be negative as well, right?
yeah.
And I agree with you. I mean, money is probably our best answer to stores of value and means of exchange to keep the economy going. But you're right. I mean, the idea that Marx had of money's just there so that we can all live and then we can do what we want to do is a great idea. It's the fact that
Yeah.
we see Marxism and communism. People can't hear that and then like they shut right down, right? But even Adam Smith, if you're a fan of Adam Smith, right? You're one of these Reagan Republicans. I I actually read Wealth of Nations. None of my friends. Okay, number one, he himself understood and said that there are certain laws in the book that are no longer needed, that don't serve the same purpose anymore. He was not this ideologue neocon, which you can tell sometimes talking to both sides of the mouth. So, for example, when I see these neocons talk about trickle down theory, and then they tell me that they are classical economists, I'm like, okay, well now you're talking about both sides. Why? What's the idea of trickle down? I give more money to the rich, and then it trickles down to the rest of us, right?
Yeah.
Rule number one of classical economics, law of diminishing returns. Diminishing marginal returns, diminishing returns to capital, diminishing returns to labor. We get to a point where adding more doesn't have. So putting one more dollar is fewer and fewer cents that come down. Now what's happening? All the dollars are at the top, and that's why you realize the top 20% of us are holding up the entire economy.
Yeah.
That is a real big imbalance. And one of two things could happen, either a big reset or a two-tiered system, which is not going to look like the America that my parents came to, right? I'm first generation. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm lucky that, that I was born here. Um, I don't know what it's going to look like, the economy and I'm in a position where we help other people. So, I'm one away from that, that circle I talked to you about, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, the sort of say the class that serves the upper class will be around, right? It's the rest, it's everybody else, right? So
Yeah.
mm, yeah, yeah, it's gonna be. My hope is that maybe your generation, you're Gen Z, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, this
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. I'm just.
let me tell you, Snapper. No, it's yours. No, what's
In my
what's
time, back in my day. All right. I'll say. I'll just say yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
no,
No more, sir.
because that's another thing. The other reason I'm busting my ass is because I'm thinking I'm going to sell this business in about 5 to 10 years, right? And make sure my clients, probably about 10, because I still like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Your clients are in good hands, but demographically, it's going to be feast or famine for us too, advisors too. Why? Well, baby boomers see the need and logic for us, right? Gen X does too. Millennials, half of them do. Gen Z, you guys grew up with it, and you
Yeah.
guys know that the AI that we dumb it down, right? So I could see a young kid like, why would I pay you? What value can you bring that I can't figure out with my app, right?
Yeah.
Years now, especially once it's become even better, right? And when we hit super intelligence, what can we do then, right? So they'll be so while my generation and the previous generations and part of the next generation will still have that level of comfort. Less will forget. That's the reason I have a job. People feel anxiety and they need some guidance because it helps with the psychological comfort. That's all advisors do. And that's whether you're a lawyer or a doctor. Doctor, a little bit more. but it's all distress that we're trying to fix here. You guys are used to getting your touchy-feelies from this, from the phone, right? From this.
It's
So,
terrible. It's a disease.
you know what? I think it's an unintended consequence of
Yeah.
hacking our dopamine uptake mechanism. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You think about it. They didn't know when they first came. I bought my then girlfriend one of the first iPhones. She was so happy. And you know what? I had a smartphone before that. T-Mobile and had a Windows C, had a little thing and had its own little stylus. And
Uh-huh. Oh wow, fancy.
I had a Newton before that and a Palm. Like I was an early adopter. So I
Uh-huh.
was on the Apple thing. Now look, did Steve Jobs know? Yeah, then social media on this, kids are gonna start feeling suicidal, they start killing themselves. Nobody knew that.
Obviously not.
Nobody knew that, hey, when social media really takes over, engagement's number one, and it's easier to get you engaged if I tick you off. So now you're ticked off, but I got,
Yep.
right? And then what happens, right? People like Charlie Kirk get shot, right? Wasn't a fan, but I certainly was a fan of preserving his First Amendment right.
Of
And
course.
with that, all this stuff is just drawing no line in the sand, right? So, I mean, I, I, I gotta be honest with you. I kind of really hope you guys come up with a station because the way I look at it now, I'm glad I'm the age I am. I'm not going to share it, but I'm glad the age I am because
I'll find it.
it won't be hard to. I mean, statistically, I've lived longer than most Homo sapien males that have crawled the face of the earth, right?
All
Because
time, yeah.
men didn't start living past 40 until the early 20th century, right? And even though people say, well, that's because there was a lot of neonatal deaths, and now that we save babies, it's part of it, right? Shut them off and remind them that in 2018 or 2015, we reached an inflection point where the distribution of ages was beehive. It used to be like this, where the older people were the smallest part at the top, and all
Mhm.
the young people at the bottom of the pyramid, helping to support everybody. Now it's a beehive. There's many at the top, at the bottom. So what does
Yeah.
that mean? Well, it skews it, especially when all the money's at the top, right?
These
So
old rich boomers.
now I know what I say. Yeah, whatever, boomer.
Uh-huh. Okay, boomer, yeah.
Right, I
Okay, Gen X.
totally get what because the boomers. Listen, if they're being honest, they got everything they wanted. They got
Wasn't fair.
the federal government that weeding debt. They got and the other thing when people talk about make America great again, like in the 50s. I'm like, okay, let's look at what happened in the 50s. You had a surplus of government intervention to help you your first house, right? To help you with it. The GI Bill, you bought, right? They helped you.
Yeah.
But also it was the time of the Great Compression because marginal tax rates were so high when you made that kind of money. The top earner was only making about 5 to 7 times like the bottom earner. So you didn't have this wide discrepancy. Now, it sickens me when I see a CEO that makes 100 times what his same counterpart did, 20 years ago. You are telling me that you're 100 times more efficient, 100 times more effective? Go pound sand.
Inflation. You gotta keep up with inflation.
And that's still 100 times, right? Otherwise,
Yeah.
it would be 100 times the same value, right? No, so
Yep.
that's not an addition, it's a usurpation. They are taking value away, and where they're taking it, by keeping wages low, so by a lot of their workers, and then the people that support it, well, a lot of this money is from stock grants. Yeah, well, it is the board that decides how to pair off those stock grants. There's nothing saying they can't give it to the proletarian workers. There's nothing saying they can't give it to the plebeian ranks. Like here's some, and
Yep.
that actually would help them, A, understand this aspect of the business. B, feel like they're part of it. You know why they're afraid? Because they know like 80-20 rule. 80% of them are going to sell out. 20% of them will stick with it, right? And
Yep.
here goes are fine. Then don't give them the same amount of shares. Give them a prorated amount that if they do all 80% sell out, it doesn't like crater the stock, right? Something that can reset pretty easily. But you still are bringing them to the table. You're giving them an opportunity. And that engenders loyalty. Not, I say, listen. That's the
Yep.
And
See, that's the thing. I feel like your generation, I'm assuming, let's say Gen X, right? Gen X. We'll say Gen X. And
wait, no,
um yeah, boomer. But
no, not that.
yeah.
Closer to millennial than I answer.
Yeah, like as the generations go on, like we're seeing, I know like your generation understood positive reinforcement more, but I think Gen Z is massive on positive reinforcement. And like seeing like this knowledge that by it rewarding people instead of rewarding more often than punishing encourages growth and it encourages, you know, loyalty. So when these new CEOs and founders are, you know, my generation, I don't want to call us nicer, but I think we're more aware of that. And hopefully it helps.
I mean, I will say to a certain extent, you have much greater what acceptance of people in your generation.
Yeah.
So, gay marriage is not a big deal, right? Oh my God,
Hmm.
I do it.
It's been normal for me the whole life.
This is awesome. And yet, meanwhile, just 25 years ago, there was I shudder to say the word, it starts with F, you know what it means.
Yeah, yeah.
The book was about how, in my generation, being called that was the worst thing, was emasculating, right? You became a second-tier citizen that way. So
Wow.
exactly. And think about it. Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna really look at the history of the United States, we've really only been a democracy for the past maybe 50 years, right?
Yeah,
Unless
yeah.
women not voting for the first 100 years or so matters. We had Jim Crow laws up until about 60 years ago, right?
Yeah.
I'm 60s that where they were imprisoning MLK and killing Malcolm X, right? Other people wonder whether it was mission was one that did that, but it doesn't matter, right? These
Yeah.
people have civil rights, and now luckily the danger I see it with your generation. And again, I'm not a sociologist, but we all have our opinions, right? And opinions are like buttholes. Everybody's got one. Well,
Shit comes out of it.
but there was a very interesting study that was done by two economists out of Brown, and I wish I remember their name, but it was on the second to last season of Through the Wormhole with that was a series that was hosted by Morgan Freeman. What's really good about the last two seasons is they went over social issues, not just they started with the physics stuff. What is time? Is time travel possible, right? Then it got into is gun violence epidemic, right? And they went into the idea of diversity and how diversity helps the economy. However, they believe there's a threshold that when you have too much diversity, it starts engendering tribal. Because remember, the brain can only handle so much at a time. We tend to think that we have naive realism that what we see is what's out there. No, actually, if you read Donald Hoffman's The Case Against Reality, our minds are really have evolved. They're optimized for fitness. So we see what best helps us survive and thrive. So I don't really see that.
Mm.
So because it's limited and because most of our instincts were, in my opinion, I'm a big believer in evolutionary psychology. So a lot of these instincts were born in the Pleistocene, where fewer people, right? So because of that, when you have all this diversity, my first reaction is, wait, I don't know. I don't know if I should trust. I'm going to hold over to it, right? Now multiply that, and now you can see why cancel culture is so easy to happen. Because when everybody's already on edge, and I'm not sure how to feel about you, and I'm not sure how to feel about you, I know how to feel about Epstein. So boom, there we go, right? And we can all, or I know how to feel about Bud Light, or I know how to feel about this because it goes in with what I want. So it really engenders hostility if there's because of this sense of uneasiness. Now, I don't know if they're right about where it stems from, but they did use some sub-Saharan African nations as yeah when they had diversity, no diversity, not a good economy. Some diversity, good economy. Too much diversity, infighting, civil wars, right?
Yeah.
So that's what scares me because when you're able to kind of rally that many voices in one direction against a person, place, or thing or idea, you now have engendered what you need for the real scary parts, like the Pol Pots and Khmer Rouges of the world, the Nazis, and those are all overused, I get it, but they happen because of groupthink. And the other reason why groupthink is so easy is because we're bombarded with information. So again, it taxes this because of the attention time.
Yeah.
The moment I feel, because what happens when somebody feels moral superiority, right? Or they feel sanctity, right? Well, number one, I'm filled with zeal. I know I'm not that. I feel pretty good about myself. And the other thing is, if I can point at you and you're wrong, then by definition, I'm right. So I can feel better about myself. Get enough people to do that at the wrong time and the wrong group, and you can have a crystal knot. You really
Yeah.
type of crystal knot, right? Not necessarily you, not necessarily against any person, it could be against an idea, right? I mean, it doesn't help that the president, during these No King's Day, puts a video of him literally dropping fecal matter on the constituents that he's here to serve, right?
It's what it's taking people off. It's what we call Gen Z call rage baiting.
Oh yeah,
It's yeah.
and look how easy it is because it's so easy to rage because that's what social media does. It peaks at that. If you ever see the show, it's on Netflix, The Social Dilemma.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I have watched that. Yep.
I loved it. And I'll tell you the one thing, this is what got my idea, like, why aren't we regulating these guys? What ticked me off was when they asked a lot of these founders, do you have any children? Someone, yeah, 14.
Hmm.
Well, would you let them on social media? And they all laughed nervously. Right. F you was my first thought. You're a drug pusher. You're a drug pusher who, can wear the threads. I'm a billionaire. I'm an entrepreneur. At least Escobar knew what he was selling and sold it with no qualms whatsoever. You know what? You don't want it, don't smoke, don't snort it, right?
Yep. Pure evil.
We are opposed to society. We're next level. You're drug pushers and you're harming children. And I'm glad that Australia, I can't believe Kentucky is ahead of California in putting the necessary handlebars on this. But
Yeah.
just what we saw the food industry, no one's going to really regulate themselves. And when they do, it's not going to be very good, right? I
Yep.
mean,
That's why we have ketchup.
there's no way, no way. So, I mean, Mo Gaudat, he's a Google, ex-Google exec. He wrote a book, not the algorithm for happiness, or something like that. But he's on Diet of the CEO. And he thinks that, yeah, 2027 is going to be an inflection year. And he thinks things are going to get really bad before they get really good. He thinks that, because think about the power that AI could wield in the long term. So, for example, look at Ukraine before the invasion and before they put Zelensky in there. There was a lot of protests, against the government at that time. Imagine if now that government could use AI to do visual recognition on everybody there, could then use drones that had no manning, that could then just take people with laser precision. Gone are the giant Tomahawk missiles off our drones. Now, laser precision. I don't need to kill anybody, just the right ones, and the rest of you will fall in line. And the other thing, you know what Putin's showed the world? Get the right rich people in place. Give the other people enough scraps and make them fearful. And you got no problems. You got no problems.
Insane.
And that's, I think, what Musk is trying to do here. And I say, yes, and if the AI finds it, I'll be the first one home. Yeah, they'll find this. Like, we know how you think. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's obvious the way he was anti-bots to get away from buying it. Then, of course, he ramped up the bots. His rhetoric around the left versus the right, his sharing of disinformation. I love how, he lambasted anybody who called out Charlie Kirk's very incendiary rhetoric before he died. And yet, meanwhile, this same Elon Musk retweeted this idea of Nancy Pelosi's husband having a gay lover, and that's what led to his attack. He retweeted that and did not take it down after it was shown to be false. If that doesn't tell you who he really is, best thing I ever heard about Elon Musk, someone said he is the picture of the soul of a 19th century oil baron and a 14-year-old virgin trying to invade the same body at the same time.
So do you think it's all calculated or is it just chaos?
I think it's calculated chaos. I think
Really?
in the chaos, he knows that most people are going to. What happens when you're chaotic? You're not thinking straight. And when you're chaotic, planning requires quietness. So that's one reason why when I sit with people, I'm like, let's clear out the cobwebs first. Tell me about your bad things that happen to you. Tell me about your fears, right? Because they're not going to go away just because you change your body, right? You carry them with you. Just like relationships. Oh, I got rid of that person. I'm a clear slate for the next person. Ah, you tell
Nope.
yeah, then you have another problem waiting to happen. Another problem with different face, different. Same thing here. So unless you clear out the cobwebs, you can't think straight. When there is chaos, your nervous system is now on edge. And so think about economy, like I told you, how are decisions made? Now you're making decisions on a flight or fight or fawn or freeze way of thinking, right? These are the four approaches to stress. And you're not going to make an optimum because you just want out from under it. It's as if someone has a pressure on your shoulder and all you can think about is get away. You don't know the next step. And that's what the chaos does. It gets you thinking primally. And the more you think primally, the more malleable you are. That's why I can figure out, oh, you're more the left. Let me start with all these huge right-wing, anti-Obama, or you're pro-Trump. Let me throw in all the anti-Trump, all this, because that's the business model. They'll say it's an externality. Externality, it is the business model. To keep you engaged by any means necessary. That means keeping off by reprinting misinformation, then that's what they'll do. If we started holding them accountable for you let misinformation thrive, well, you would see Zuckerberg, he still had that crazy look in his eyes, but he'd start taking a lot more editorial control. And who knows how many deaths we could have stopped. People literally die from this stuff.
Yeah.
Suicide or through attacks, right? So it's a scary world out there. And if you think about it, if you really pay attention, there's a very low level of needs across the board. You see in the markets, yeah, they're up today, they were kind of drifting down the week before, right? And it's because of all the products. And it's serving a few people very well. And until it stops serving them, what incentive do they have to stop? The betterment amount of time?
No one cares.
Well, it's easier if you consider yourself to be, first think of yourself as superlative, right? I'm better than those people. Then because of that, I'm in a better position to decide what's going to be good. So you know what? Give me the reins. I'm going to tell you how to live your life. You'll thank me for it.
Yeah.
That's what they're all for. That's okay. And the ones that aren't, at least are honest enough to say, hell with it, I don't care, right? You definitely don't want to break bread with those people, but at least you respect it. They're coming from the truth.
Exactly.
I feel I'm going way over. You're easy to talk to, but I tell you let me go on and on.
No, I know. I love it, man. I figured you were gonna stop at one point. I was like, this guy's a CEO, founder. He got places to be.
You
But
got my assistant finally came back, and I was supposed to start lunch 30 minutes ago.
oh, I knew it. I was like, it's kind of, I feel like it's lunchtime over in Cali. I don't know.
I'm
You
doing
just
something to keep my my weight down, and so
intermittent.
yeah, and Monday through Thursday I eat in a 6 hour window. Friday 8 hours. Weekends I just eat. I just keep calories low, and yeah, it works. It works like a charm. But
Awesome. Yeah. See, I do that accidentally because I'm broke. But
you got the right decision. Look, if I could go back, my mistake was this. Number one, yes, you need your passion, but make sure you have a path to monetization, right? Something that you know can happen, right? That you have. Number two, don't stop. Don't fucking stop. Pardon my French. I know I said it, but
all good.
there's that famous saying of a father and son bought a mine. It had never really been mined, but they know there's gold there, and they tried and they tried and they tried, and they didn't make it happen. And they decided, the heck with it, let's sell it. And they sold it for pittance, and they were 3 feet away from gold.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's what most people don't know. The line of success is never straight. I've had failures and successes, and it's how you react to failures. It's how you learn. Best line I've heard is a winner is just a loser who tried one more. You look at all their stories. No, it wasn't just like, you know, what triumph over triumph over triumph over triumph. Nobody looked that way. Nobody does. So if you can do that, and the same thing, you network, because people are your greatest resource. They really are.
Yeah.
Not you can introduce you to other people, but because if you have an open mind, they can really make your life easier. Whatever path you're cutting for yourself, I promise you, somebody has laid some groundwork already. I wish I had given myself that advice at your age. If I had, I would have wasted, I would have saved myself so much time where I literally reinvented the wheel. Literally. Almost.
Wow. Almost.
People already knew, people that had a mentor, right? And finding a mentor is really good. A mentor is worth their weight in gold. Or
Yeah.
whatever it's worth. It's something.
What I keep hearing, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Because that one-to-one, because and I learned I was very much an autodidact. I loved teaching myself. And it was because I hated people telling me what to do. What a mistake. What a mistake.
Yeah.
Because I taught myself calculus. But I remember, there's so many. And I
Khan Academy.
wanted to learn it, right? And so, and Khan Academy is a great resource too. I mean, if you're an autodidact, there's never been a better time, especially with AI now. But, and thank God there's AI now to help you with this. Because what hit me one time was I was stuck on a problem. And it took me a good 4 to 5 minutes to finally figure it out. And what figured it out was, oh, I forgot one small little variable. It wasn't something
Yep.
central to the process. It wasn't something about, it was just a little something I'd overlooked. Someone over my shoulder who said, you overlooked that. And I could have moved quickly. I wasted 5 minutes of time. Multiply that by all the other errors that weren't not as valuable to learn, right?
Hmm.
And how much sooner could I gotten something? Right? Now I
Yeah.
it was fun ride. It was really a lot of fun. And I ticked off a lot of the boxes I meant to tick off. This is the last big box, and then we go. And after this, I'll probably just spend time just growing, right? But yeah, everybody makes mistakes. And kicking yourself over a mistake is the easiest thing in the world. It's something that we all do, and it's the biggest mistake in the world. You don't get better by kicking yourself. You don't get better by feeling bad about yourself. In fact, it kind of warps your subconscious. Um, you grieve it, you embrace it, you move on. And that's the hardest thing to do. It's the hardest thing because a lot of stuff is new to you, right? The first failure is going to it's going to be hard not to identify it, right? And the first success also is going to be hard not to identify it. First time you start seeing some money, you're going to feel like you're a genius.
Bet.
And it's going to be real fun to see how quickly that goes to your fingers. Anyway, I hate to say this. I look at my social security statement and I can look at whole blocks like all that money was spent. That money is gone.
Yeah. Pre-spending.
I mean, pre-retiree. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm able to kind of pick out bad habits from some of my clients because I've lived with them.
Yeah.
At the time, I was just kind of like my father. He was a surgeon and a doctor, but he was a two-pack-a-day smoker. That's why I picked it up.
Oh, really? You would think that kind of guy would know better.
Let's see what
Yep.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
The parents out there, right?
Yep. Yeah, we all end up like him.
But yeah, I mean, I think you're on the right track. I mean, and as long as you keep going. I mean, I've actually watched Diary CEO. He's got a lot of good stuff, especially for young entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hated school. He didn't have he said he didn't have the patience for college. So he started on business and the mistakes he made, right? Because we all
Yeah.
make. But dude, like now with the gig economy, like Fiverr and Upwork, now with AI, there are so many different ways that you can get a board to help you give ideas.
Exactly.
That I didn't have because that's what I learned the hard way that unless there's someone else around, there's some things about your personality, know yourself. There's some things about your personality and yourself you will not know outside of relation with somebody else, right? That's the only way you can know it.
Yeah.
And so that every idea here is God's truth to us, right? It's like,
Yeah.
actually, no, it's a stupid idea. Let me tell you why. Someone you trust is able to do that, right? But if you don't have those people around, and that's how, actually, back to Elon Musk, that's probably one of the reasons why he's made some mistakes recently. Like, listen, the roller coaster ride of Tesla stuff is a mistake, believe me. Right? That's one of the reasons why, and the board trying to give him $1 trillion was another big error. But it's
Yeah.
just the way we are. It's that we make these, but someone, and when you get to that level, when you get to Musk's or Trump's level, you're actually at a disadvantage because the hardest thing you find at that level is someone to tell you that's a stupid idea. And let me tell you what, you are surrounded with yes men because they want what you have. They're sycophants that want that. And with Musk, it would be actually much more difficult. Why? Because Musk actually has some success not listening to naysayers. They say I could do this with Tesla and I did this with them. They say I could do this and I did that.
With everything.
Exactly. But someone should have told them the Cybertruck's going to fail. And it failed bigly, right?
Hmm.
I mean, where's the Roadster? Don't see it.
I
Where's
forgot about that.
I didn't. Where's the big nowhere? It's in
Uh-huh.
next to the garbage heap of those whenever I see a Cybertruck, it's I think it reminds me of a lawn. It's clumsy,
Yeah.
right? Clumsy thing. Like it's like he was on Adderall, Road Warrior was on. It's like, yeah. And that's it. It looks like something out of the Road Warrior. So, but you know what? He didn't care what I think. Now that he was sycophants, that I like to call muskrats. It never took on, but I think it's a good one. And
No, I'll use it. I'll use it.
use it, yeah, the muskrats, because a muskrat is a real thing, and those people who can do no wrong, dude. But it's still not right.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I better get skedaddling before I start eating my laptop.
Yeah, no, right? I'm not gonna be your muskrat, so
But I mean, listen, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk, giving me a soapbox, giving me a bit of my TED talk.
of
Um,
course.
that yeah, anybody who watches this, gets an idea. It's like, well, listen, at least I don't have to make the same mistakes other people made. And that yeah, it only takes an idea that about 10% new to make $1 million and hurt another going. And it's true. And it doesn't
Yeah.
mean something super duper very new. I mean, how new was social media from just the internet? Not much new, right? And
Hmm.
yet, first we started with the multimillionaires, like, or the billionaires like well, not Bezos, but, Bill Gates. And then all the social media guys become billionaires, right? Now the AI guys are being actually, the AI guys might become trillionaires.
No, they will. I 100% think this.
Hmm. And and then what? Hmm.
Then hopefully we're everything's gone by then.
Or Mogadal thinks that after the bad time, and think about it, if you've got AI that can do anything, that can think of cheap ways to self-roboticize and look for resources, or come up with alternate ways of making what we want without having to go with exogenous or exotic materials, rather. Then Lamborghinis could be free, right?
Yeah.
Now
But
it's
then are they as valuable anymore?
that's what he never answers, and that's one thing. Now that we have been so geared for scarcity, the scarcity drives value. Even to the point where another good book that I really like is called The Social Paradox by William von Hippel. And he talked about how there's a tension that we evolve with between connection and autonomy. And connection is important because when we were in the Pleistocene, if you didn't have other human beings helping you out, you'd probably die, right? I
Hmm.
mean, lots of things are going to kill you out there, right? So that's why ostracization hurts, right? Rejection hurts because I might die. But the thing is that it also requires cost, because let's say we're rice farmers. It takes a lot of land to do rice. So let's say you and I are rice farmers, we're probably neighbors. So what happens? I have to worry about what you think. You come up like you're doing that wrong. I have to listen to you. Why? Well, because I depend on you. And you have to watch me because you depend on me. Like if I screw up, we're not eating. We're all on the same boat.
Dead.
After a while. So because of that pressure, whenever we were given the opportunity for autonomy, we took it. just like our brains evolved to love sugar, fat, and salt because we never came across it. So when we came across it, we gorged. Why? Because I don't know when I'm going to see this again. The brain evolving didn't know. Yeah, one day there's going to be McDonald's at every corner, or that literally will be at every corner. You can find sugar, fat, and salt in almost every corner here. So
Like dopamine.
precisely, precisely. So that's the thing. So because we've been so connected, we go to the autonomy. And now look what happens. Back 150 years ago, only 1% of people live alone. Now it's 1 in 7, right? A lot of us live alone. Uh, Loneliness is up. Male suicide is up. It's higher than female suicide by a
It's
big.
crazy.
If the male suicide rate were the same as the female suicide rate, we'd have over 500,000 more men. So
That's crazy.
So it is so I mean it's a new world, it's getting crazier. So yeah, I unless we really start shutting down some of the loud voices, then yeah, half the time it's like you're just learning to tune people out. And you need a certain amount of that if you can stand up now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what you're saying, it's like it's not just different, it's more volatile. And either way, if it's gonna get a lot better or a lot worse, then
Yeah, it's a lot different. I mean, I mean, I think people are gonna start getting used to you think about how much your nervous system is going to reset and how weird it will feel when something's not. Do you live on a roller coaster? Grounds me feel weird.
Yeah, exactly.
If you live on a ship, the grounds me feel weird. You
Yeah, I don't think I've ever felt the ground, to be honest.
know? So yeah, so that's why I hope you guys figure it out. I really do. I don't know the dating crisis I keep reading about, especially hitting your generation, is a real thing. I think it's
Hmm.
tied into religiosity. Religiosity is actually increasing with Gen Z, which is really interesting.
That is
And
weird.
yeah, well, it makes sense. When you have to find our impulses are still there, right? Whether or not you can find a girlfriend in your 20s, if you are a heterosexual young male with average yearnings, you think about women a lot because that's just the way we evolve.
Hmm.
There's a reason why it's important. All nature cares about is survive and reproduce. So that's why hunger is such a big deal to us, and so is procreate. Well, at least the act is a big deal to us.
Yeah, yeah, that's the two different things now.
Precisely. Well, because we didn't think about procreate, we were thinking about the act, right?
Yeah.
And so when you constantly stymied by that, I was an ugly duckling, so it happened to me too. I didn't start getting passable until my mid to late 20s. So I was very good because it's all about preparation, preparation. And you're preparing for the one that will come in and make it all right. And then you
Yeah.
find out that doesn't work out. So,
Wasn't wasn't the one.
well, the one is what is the one, right? I mean, the one is, you know who the one is? Is the person that stays around, does what needs to be done, and that you guys can deal with each other and help each other along. Seriously.
Hmm.
It is true. Trying to make someone happy is the biggest mistake you can ever make. That's what I look for when I date is how are they a happy person? And if I learn they're not, it doesn't matter how good a picture is. And it does not matter what you bring to the table. They're in the habit of unhappiness. So they will find fault, they will find fault, they will find fault. And these are also the people that get analysis by paralysis. They're so used to so many options.
Yeah.
And they don't get like my brain's playing tricks on me. I pick something that's gonna look bad. I have to forget there are other options there. And they can't because all the TikTok people are there saying, ah, you're pretty, and unless he does this, that, and the other. Don't listen. I'm like, yeah, now look what happens. Now see what's happening, right? And
You end up like a loser. I got a few people like that in my life, and it's just so obvious the difference between them. It's honestly my mom and her sister. They're two very different people.
really,
And yeah, yeah, it's like my sis or my aunt is exactly the person. I hope she doesn't watch this, but she's kind of exactly the person you just described, where she's just not a happy person and she doesn't live a very happy life. My mom's very bubbly, and granted, she has had two marriages now, but she's still happy. She's a joy to be around, and I enjoy being around her.
but
And my stepmom too, same thing.
two marriages is not bad. In fact, look, the other reason that people married and stayed married, well, they forget that number one, most of us were not as mobile as we are now. you were born, lived, and died in the same Hubble, right? If you didn't get married, you didn't procreate. End of story. Because you probably weren't traveling a lot, right? This is
Mhm.
all stuff. You probably were dead by 30, right? So you can have kids as soon as possible. Oh yeah. And so yeah, so and it makes sense that from what you said, that because she's happy in and of herself, she's a joy to be around, people want to be around her, right? It's the ones that aren't happy, and they look for exogenous things that give them happiness, they're always disappointed. Always disappointed. And once you reach a certain age, it's a habit that will never break. Will never break. Most likely it won't. I avoid it best I can.
Yep, the kid's cancer. You are who you surround yourself with, is what I've been told.
Okay, so it's funny. It was that the first time I heard that, my mom told me, and it was from Cervantes, Don Quixote. Show me who you're with, and I'll tell you who you are. And I used to argue with her. What a mistake. Now that we know we're the average of the 5 people we spend most of our time. So yeah, 4 of my 5 friends are actually further along than I am in where I want to be because I'm learning from them. And that 5th friend is like a brother to me, and we're on par. Right? I mean, he's got his strengths, I got my strengths, and we complement each other's weaknesses. But yeah, I mean, where before, like, I think that's one of the disadvantages of the current administration, right? I mean, we all know Trump loves hearing what a great guy he is. And that is the easiest way to, I mean, look, I use TikTok as an example. I don't have it. And the reason I don't have it is because even before all this stuff happened, my friend the intelligence community was not found on TikTok. And he almost never tells me anything. So I'm like, okay, fine. And then the Democrats were against it. And then the Republicans were against it. And then Trump goes to power, they kiss his ring, and then, well, he's letting it go. What does that tell you? When you have both parties who rarely agree on anything, both saying, this is a concern, but that concern knows all I have to do is say it. Right.
Bad.
What kind of decision making is happening at that level? Right? So
It's called positive feedback loop. That's what it is. No one's telling no. Nothing stop. No checks and balances on his brain.
yeah, well, again, he doesn't have the right people. I mean, that's why I applaud Obama. He tried to do what Lincoln did, get people that were his competitors, get people against him, if you ran against him. That way, I mean, it's better than an echo chamber, and that's what social media has become. Right. So we have 5 billion people on the planet. Give them all social media, you have 5 billion echo chambers.
That sounds like a nightmare. Sounds like a dystopia.
Big time, big time.
Yeah.
Not a day.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this has been great. I know you are probably busier than I am, so you got places to be. Um,
I'm
you
actually
know,
at my 1 o'clock. I'm gonna push it back 30 minutes and then shove a couple protein bars down my throat. So
oh, there we go. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna Chipotle or something. But
yeah, let me know. Let me know about when you have the copies and the stuff ready. And yeah, please.
yeah, and then if you know any other people in the space that would, be a good guest to have on here and have them on, let me know or give me the contact information. And you personally, like, I don't know this is a blast. I love talking to you is just so easy. I don't know why, but great. I had a lot of fun. If you have another time that we can like hop on a, just no podcast, just us like talking business, so I can pick your brain a little bit,
Cool.
get some insights, then I would love to do that too.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, what should we call it? Like I said, I'm gonna run and I have 33
Yeah.
minutes. But email me and let's set something up for that. And then
Okay.
yeah, um, Fridays are usually better for me. And if you want to this Friday, let me see, which is the 24th. Okay, so okay, so if you want to do a Friday, it would have to be in the morning my time, so around noon your time, 11 the latest. I mean, I'm sorry, uh,
Like
one
2:30.
one the latest with me, because then I have a 1 o'clock at a different time. But yeah, so if you want to, yeah, let me know, and then we can do that.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll email you and then we'll figure something out.
Have a great Monday.
All right, Mr. No, let's just Boris. I'll make
This
you feel young.
is when I go to the movie theaters, they say yes, sir. I'm like, oh, stop it. I
Oh, it's just manners. It's manners.
I know. It's just like I just remember when I used to call older people sir. I'm like, I don't know. Always keep this in mind. Inside every older person is a young person wondering what the hell happened. So
Can't wait. I'll call you homie from now on.
okay, good.
All right,
Okay.
homie. I'll talk to you later, man. Yeah.